Hello and welcome to the EU Diplomacy within the United Country. My name is Viktoriia Zabiian and today my guest in the studio is Olivier Vedrine, representative of French diplomacy, journalist and researcher. Nice to meet you here in our studio.
Nice to meet you. I am not representative of the French diplomacy. I am only EU expert.
EU expert, it's also a good status, you know, in Ukraine.
I am a EU expert and then I am more involved in EU, what can I say, analysis, yeah.
But you are a big friend of Ukraine, so
yeah.
We are going to guess that you are our diplomacy agent.
Okay.
And as you're a French citizen, first of all, I would like to discuss these terrible events that happened in Paris on 13th of November. And it was terroristic attacks, so whether such attacks were predicted by government of France and did the France was ready for this?
First of all, I can say that a lot of my friends who are security experts and I'm not surprised about that. And you know that 1 year, less than 1 year, we had this terrorist attack on Charlie Hebdo. And a lot of security analysts say that this will happen again. Then I think for some people who are really in security services, this is not a surprise. It's not a surprise.
But on the background of the sharpening situation in Syria, what was done for to avoid these terrible events?
You know, now we are bombing Syria, and more and more. But even if some of our security experts are not surprised, that's when this fact happened 1 week ago in Paris. That was a big drama, and this is still a big drama. And now I think we will change a lot of things in our security policy and in interior security and in foreign security. Now France is in war against the Islamic State, and we feel that we are in war. This is for the French history a new war, a new period. And I am totally confident, and I trust my government and my country, we will face this aggression and this war.
Yeah, concerning this statement, experts, a lot of experts, is sure that European countries created such conditions, dangerous situation by themselves because they did not care a lot about their security and high quality security programs, for example, within the UN organization.
Yes and no. You know, European Union, we are in peace now from more than 70 years, and war is something we forgot. And when you are in a country where you have peace from 70 years, you cannot take care. You do not take care about security policy. And yes, that's was one of our weakness for all the European Union states member. But now I hope that now we will change this security policy. You know that more and more we are talking to build a European army. We are talking about more, can I say, internal policy between the state members of the European Union. But we will see the results of this Paris attack and Paris attacks, because several attacks, in those next weeks. And I think everything will go very quickly in the European Union and for France also.
But do you think, I want to hear your point of view, is the Syrian, I don't know, danger, is the problem of whole European community, of the one separate countries, or every separate countries?
For in European Union?
Yes.
You know, the European Union is a large and big political power, but without an army. Okay, and for me, we have to build an army, and we have to take care about the security of the European Union. And we cannot continue like that. We must build a European army, and we must build like a special European agency for security. We did that. We have some beginning of that. But we have to increase the policy of security of the European Union. We have to build really a European army, and I think we didn't take care about that before. We talked a lot about the European army, European defense, but no results. Now we have to do. We have to do. We did nothing to build this European army. Now we have to build this European army.
Can we say that the common security policy and program of European Union is failed?
No, no, it does not fail. That was only a lot of reports, a lot of meetings, but nothing concrete. That means we have all the reports, we have all the ideas to build this European defense, but we did nothing because nobody care about that, you know, before.
But without army, what was the main idea of this common security policy?
The main idea was, okay, France can do some military operation in Africa with the help of Great Britain, and we have NATO, then it's okay. It's okay.
So we can provide some actions in other countries, but not in our land.
Yeah, and everybody thought that NATO will help us, and also that France can help, because France has the biggest army in the European Union with Great Britain. And nobody take care. But now, really, we have to build a European army.
So let's come back to the French extent of these events, and it's very interesting that France is waiting for presidential elections in 2017. So how these events and sharpening of the situation in Syria can influence the electoral preferences and I don't know, rhetorics of candidates of the main political forces?
Yeah, you know that in France we have several parties, political parties. I must say that if our president will do a great job in this war, and if my President François Hollande, will win this war, he will win the election, definitely. That's normal. Then we will see how the President François Hollande will win, and how we will face this war. And I think the result, and I think the result will be positive. I think François Hollande has some chance to be re-elected. You have also the right party and the extreme right party, and that's can be a little bit dangerous if the extreme right party will increase, because they are against the European Union, they are against NATO, they are against the USA, they are pro-Putin. I talk about the extreme right party, Marine Le Pen.
Yeah.
And that will be not a good news for France and not a good news for European Union. That's why I think we have, as a French citizen, we have to support our president, we have to support our government, and we have to fight together against these terrorists.
I mean, how it is possible to win this war? What will be the win for France?
I think to win this war, you have several aspects. First, you have an interior aspect. That means we have to increase our security in interior security in France, because we have some terrorists in France.
So, talking about the radical parties, for example, Marine Le Pen, who is the really powerful political actor in political arena in France, what rhetorics will be used by this political force toward migrants and military operations of France?
You talk about the rhetoric, yeah?
Yeah.
You know, the rhetoric is very simple. This is because of immigration, and this is because of Syrian migrants. This is because of the European Union. We have to be closer from Russia, and we cannot trust USA, and NATO is nothing, and the European Union has to be destroyed.
And how do you think, what will be the reaction of citizens on this?
You know, you have to understand that French citizens, they can say that they are from extreme right party because they, no, in France, you have to understand that we like to be unhappy. We like to do revolution. We like to do that. We will destroy everything. This is French attitude. We are very emotional, and we like to be on strike. We like to do riots. We like to do revolution. This is our way of thinking. And for all the governments in France, when you see all the history of France, the French citizens, they are always, a large part of them, against the governments. And this is normal. But at the end, they really united. And this is French attitude. You know, we talk a lot. We can be a little bit provocative, aggressive, but at the end, we are together. And that means those French citizens, they will say, I will vote for Marine Le Pen because this government is not efficient, blah, blah, blah. I want to destroy everything. But at the end, they will they will vote for a normal party, and I think everything will be okay. But you are right. At the extreme right party, there are now about 20%, 25% of all the voters in France. But you know, 40 years ago, Communist Party was at the same level. And at the end of the Second World War, the Communist Party in France represented 30% of the voters. And everybody was afraid, maybe France will become a new Soviet Union state, and nothing happened. Because we are like that. We like to make some disturb, to say that we are not happy, that we will change everything. But really, this is our thinking. We are the motherland of the revolution, and this is a French way of thinking.
So you think that French citizens cannot unite around the radical ideas?
No.
No.
No. We will have 20-25%. And we can have the same scenario than with Jacques Chirac. That means Marine Le Pen can be at the second step of the presidential election in front of another candidate. But for me, she will not be elected. But she can be at the second step of the presidential election against another candidate.
To be clear, I just want to understand this background on which Ukraine will build its relationships with the European Union, where France is the very powerful actor.
Yeah.
So now we are going to connect Paris events with Ukrainian reality, and Petro Poroshenko said that these events they influence on solidarity increasing in France to Ukraine. Is it possible to connect these two events?
First of all, I was very surprised about the.
Just because we also have terroristic threats.
I know.
Yeah.
This is you are in war, as we are, against some separatists. and those separatists, they are doing also terrorist acts in Donbass. That's, I am totally agree with this point of view. And I was very surprised because I received a lot of messages of support about Ukrainian people, about what's happened in Paris. A lot of my Ukrainian friends sent to me a lot of message of condolence, and I was very happy to see that, really. And thank you for all those victims. Thank you for your condolences, and that's great, really. I saw that the Ukrainian people are very, very close to France and to French people. And I want to say that the French people also must be more close to the Ukrainian people. And because I saw some photos, and a lot of Ukrainian people put some flower in front of the French embassy. And I think also the French citizen must do the same in front of the Ukrainian embassy in Paris to support Ukraine in Donbass. This is my way of thinking. But really, now we have to take care about what's happened, because Putin is doing a big game with Syria, and I think Putin is trying to help to forget Ukraine. That means he wants everybody to talk about Syria, and he wants everybody to know that Russia is our ally, and to forget totally the Ukrainian war.
Yeah, this actually was my next question.
And for me, this is really the first topic.
I mean that the significant event was the G20 summit in Turkey, where the West showed its, I don't know, tolerance to Russia as it should be shown to ally in this. I don't know how to overcome this conflict in Syria. So, what the position of Ukraine? How can we overcome all this? Because Russia is our enemy, and we are trying to integrate European Union somehow. And how European leaders are going to synchronize their actions between Ukraine and Russia?
Two things. First, I was very surprised about the invitation of Putin at the G20, because Russia is not a member of the G8, you know, they were, we took them off. And I was very surprised about this invitation of Putin. Why Putin is here? Because we took off Russia from the G8. Then that's, for me, a surprise. But anyway, now we have to do with that. For me, we really have to increase the foreign policy of Ukraine. To increase this foreign policy in the target to do some lobbying, to explain what is going on in Ukraine, to invite some representative deputies of European Parliament, of national parliament, to come here in Ukraine, to see what happened, in Ukraine. And really, if you don't do this policy of lobbying, really Putin will win the propaganda war. Then for me, the only thing you have to do is to increase lobbying, explain Ukraine in Europe, explain Ukraine in USA, what's happened, and you must invite some intellectuals, politicians here in Ukraine. I am very surprised about what's happening in Ukraine, because really, when I see the propaganda of Russia, and when I see the counter propaganda, I can say, of Ukraine, this is like, you have a small dog and a big elephant, you know.
It's difficult to compare,
yeah.
Of course.
Then you have to increase that. You have to increase that, because the European Union and France, they at the end, if we will be in this. We are in this Syrian conflict, and I know that the Putin propaganda will use this conflict. That means you will have to face a big problem, because nobody will talk about Ukraine if Ukraine will do nothing.
So we are at risk to be in the worst situation that we can imagine.
Yes, if you do nothing.
Because Islamic State is the greater conflict and greater
Islamic
danger.
State will be our first target.
Mm-hmm.
And if tomorrow you will not do some lobbying, you will really, nobody will talk about Ukraine, and we will forget Ukraine.
Well, now Ukraine is preparing for Euromaidan anniversary.
Yeah.
And a lot of mass actions will be in Kiev, for example. And should we be afraid of some provocations from the side of maybe terrorists, Russian one or Syrian one?
I think we have to be afraid.
For discreditation of Ukraine.
Yeah. I think we have to be. We have to be afraid.
Well, you're a friend of Ukraine, so
Yeah,
we.
say we.
Yeah.
We have to be afraid because we can have some manipulation and some can say terrorist attack. Yeah, but some fights. And we have to take care about security because I think the terrorists in the Donbass, they can use those events to do something, and I think also Russia can use this event to do some propaganda. That's mean go see the ceremony, they are not organized, no security, and really we have to take care of that. And I think the next weeks will be next weeks and maybe in the next months will be very difficult for Ukraine, because we have to talk about Ukraine abroad, because we want nobody to forget Ukraine, and we have to take care of Ukraine inside to avoid some manipulation and some attacks, fights in Ukraine during those events and ceremonies.
You discussed a lot of questions with Ukrainian authorities, with Ukrainian representatives of from the power, and what is their point of view and your one? How do you think Syrian migration crisis in Europe could influence the level of Euroscepticism in Ukraine, and can this destroy our path that was chosen by majority of people, European path?
I think no, because I think no. Yes, you have this psychological impact of this of those terrorist acts in Paris, but I think that Ukraine will see how we will manage this crisis and this war, and how we will face this war. And I think I say to you that I'm in favor of a real European army, European defense policy, and I think now in Europe they will take care about that, and you will see how Europe will face that. And I think that can be for Europe also a chance to be more unified. And but I can understand the psychological impact of this of those terrorist acts in Paris. But anyway, you will see that France and Europe will face that.
Thank you for very comprehensive explanation of these events, and I hope that France will be strong in front of this problem, and we are too. Thank you very much.
We will be strong.
Our guest in the studio was Olivier Vedrine, and it was the UA Diplomacy Talk show within the United Country, and we are happy to see you soon. Take care and goodbye.